carrying out this sort of infiltration. And in fact, the attempts were happening for last so many days, in fact. And in fact, this particular post was facilitating the drone movement. And in fact, drones were launched from this particular post. There were inputs, and after, that Indian Army basically, has hit this particular post, Zaka.
Stay on with us as we show these pictures, as well as multiple pictures that we're getting from Lahore, as well as from Jammu and Srinagar. In Srinagar, on the outskirts, in a place called Lasjan, we're given to understand that there are remnants of a Pakistan Air Force jet that have landed in the residential compound of one individual. We were showing you those pictures a moment ago. But these are images, CCTV images likely of India intercepting these Pakistani drones. There you go. That's the first set of images. You can see the intercept happening in mid-sky. And then the next set of images are the remnants of the wreckage up on fire and smoke in what looks like fields. This is from the Jammu region, is what we've given to understand. Siddhant, in terms of diplomatic maneuvers, have you heard anything, any interventions, anything from the Americans, the Europeans? The Saudis, of course, were here both in Delhi as well as in Islamabad. But it seems like, the level of intervention seems to be far less, certainly from what President Trump and Vice President Vance have said, that it seems like India and Pakistan's problem, and it is up to India and Pakistan to sort it out.
Well, that's right, Zaka. In fact, we are also getting statement from G7 foreign ministers, Zaka. And in fact, they have unequivocally condemned Pahalgam terror attack. And in fact, that statement could be seen more inclined towards India. And in fact, the G7 foreign ministers have also urged for a de-escalation. As you rightly said, that a junior foreign minister of Saudi Arabia day before yesterday came to India. In fact, he met Minister Jaisalmer. His convoy was in fact spotted outside Prime Minister Modi's residence, though there were no photographs released by either side. Yesterday, he was in Islamabad. Perhaps there was a meeting with Shehbaz Sharif and Army Chief Asim Munir. And in fact, those photos were made public by the Pakistani side. In fact, now we also got release from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in fact, confirming that that the junior minister was the envoy of Saudi Arabia. Perhaps it was an effort which was given by Saudi Arabia to de-escalate tensions between India and Pakistan. Now, Zaka, as you rightly said, as far as United States is concerned, perhaps, they have condemned the attacks. In fact, they extended full support to India at all levels in United States. All offices have perhaps condemned the attack. But yes, the last interview of J.D. Vance, perhaps the remarks that he made, that, it gave a sense that, America is not much interested in de-escalating tensions between India and Pakistan, or rather America does not want to be the part of another war going on, or perhaps a part of a peace process of another conflict, rather, Zaka, which has started. So that could be America's strategy, Zaka. But having said that, it is very important to highlight, Zaka, that this action by Pakistan is coming after the IMF bailout was announced. Perhaps the world should take note of it. And this is exactly what India said yesterday at the board meetings, that how Pakistan misuses the funds for the terror activities. And in fact, there is also a chapter on Pakistan misusing funds for terror activities in IMF itself. India cited that chapter only to get the funds.
All right, Siddhant, just give me a moment. These are visuals. I want to once again go back to these pictures. This is India intercepting drones, a Pakistani post from where these drones were sent. We're given to understand that this is in the Jammu region, so you can see two separate sets of pictures. One, the interception that's happening, likely by the indigenous air defense systems, the Akash missiles. And then the second set, this is the second set of visuals that you're seeing, which is the wreckage, the fire and the smoke after the interception, the wreckage falling onto what looks like fields there in the Jammu region. So you can see both these sets of images. These are CCTV images from last night. It's been captured on closed-circuit television. You can see those flares going up in the sky, the interception happening up in the sky, and then the wreckage falling out in the fields. So if we can go back to Akash. Akash, just walk us through these pictures as My colleague Anand is also gearing up to show us some of these images. We have separate images from Lahore. From this is the image from Jammu region that we're seeing, the flares up in the sky and the interception happening. Arunima, I don't know if you can see these pictures, but what are you also hearing from top defense sources about what seems like not just a drone set of attacks now? You're seeing missiles and also reportedly word about 2 Pakistani Air Force jets being brought down in the skies over Srinagar.
Yes, in fact, just on the outskirts of Srinagar, there is an area called Pantha Chowk. When you move from Srinagar towards Jammu on that highway, the first place that you come to outside of Srinagar is Pantha Chowk. And that is where an intense search operation is currently on with multiple cordons being laid out by the military, by the paramilitary and by the local police to look for those Pakistan Air Force pilots. It is being suspected that they could have ejected around Pantha Chowk, and there's an intense search that is on there. Help from the locals have also been enlisted. Manoj Gupta, in fact, confirmed to us a while back that a Pakistani jet has been taken down near Srinagar, and post that we got this confirmation that there is this intense search operation that is on. So if it is confirmed indeed that these 2 pilots are near Pantha Chowk, then it will just change the dynamics of the conflict perhaps that we are seeing. You must have noticed, Zaka, all through social media, every time you speak about the India-Pakistan conflict, Abhinandan's name comes out after our fighter pilot who was after Balakot, taken into custody by Pakistan. They crack jokes about that incident, but it seems now the tables are turning on Pakistan. On the other side, I was also telling you how intermittent firing has been going on along the line of control. So the bad news from there is that one assistant district divisional commissioner level officer, Mr. Thapa, is now deceased. He's no more. A shell landed at his residence. So Pakistan is continuing to target civilian areas in Rajouri, Poonch, Jammu. A temple was targeted. A temple's wall was damaged. There were some houses near that temple that was damaged as well. So for now, it's all clear. It's a bright sunny day right now, and the input that we're getting is that things have calmed down, but the ramifications, what has happened overnight is still on, and we're expecting that briefing also in a short while from now, where India will officially confirm what has happened last night.
All right, so we have pictures from Lahore, pictures from Jammu. These are all images that we are broadcasting here on CNN News 18. So just to bring you up to speed, there has been an escalation in the drone and missile strikes from Pakistan's side overnight over the last 6 hours, specifically after the IMF announcement happened. And then India, in retaliation, has targeted at least 3 major air bases, including the Noor Khan Air Base, the old Chaklala Air Base of Pakistan. That you can see the smoke and fire going up there. This is in Lahore, likely again a missile, Indian missile that landed up there. You can see the fields up in flames. And then, of course, the interception of the Pakistani drone launch pad somewhere on the other side of the Jammu region. You can see the intercept happening mid-air, and then that's the Noor Khan Air Base, one of the biggest, the Chaklala Air Base. It's bang in the middle of the military complex in Rawalpindi. The general headquarters is not too far away from there. It has a Pakistan military training college as well, and then in Rawalpindi, in the heart of the city itself. So Anand is also joining us here in our studio. So Anand, it's been a very hot night between India and Pakistan.
Hope the international community is watching. There's a reason why Bharat was very clearly, vociferously against the IMF bailout. Soon after the bailout happens, look at this. Let's look at these visuals. This is where the tube drones were being fired. This was the tube from where drones were being fired across towards India. And that's what it's now been demolished altogether. So you have the flares and thereafter, then you see the flames. This is where this has been destroyed. This is where those Turkish drones and a lot of the Chinese drones were being pushed into India. The more important part is that these drones were actually probing. They were coming there to try to see where the air defense systems are placed, and thereafter the Pakistan was trying to send across ballistic missiles. Fatah ballistic missiles have been fired towards Bharat. That's the level of escalation that has happened soon after midnight at about 12:05 a.m. That's when the first news came in that there were ballistic missiles that were fired in the direction of Bharat, and that have been intercepted over Sirsa. So that's the level of escalation that the Pakistanis have now resorted to. General Asim Munir will now have to account for this because Bharat is going to respond in very, very strong measures. So let's try and see those pictures. These are visuals of the entire drone tube that's now been demolished. So one important aspect. Let's try and look at some of the other pictures that are coming through. So this is the dump. And let's move to the next set of pictures. Now, these are pictures which are coming in where there has been damage. This is over in Pakistan, and there is extensive amount of damage that that is visible. Yeah. And clearly there are ammunition, missiles, loitering munitions that have landed in this city. No, these are Jammu. These are pictures of Jammu. I was just looking at the card numbers, the registration numbers. So this is what Pakistan's done. It's targeting Jammu city. There are military installations, but some of these have also landed near temples. They have also landed near some of the temples, very famous temples in Jammu, where some of the munitions, some of the missiles, projectiles that have been fired by Pakistan have landed. There is damage in civilian areas. This is now. These are the two jets. There is a serious dogfight that's been registered. There are dogfights that have been registered, and Asim Munir is actually called Chachu Whiskey there in Pakistan. So his team has suffered losses. 2 of his jets are down. What is the make of these jets? We don't know. But 2 of the jets are down in a dogfight. Indian Air Force has really knocked down 2 jets. It's a big setback and big embarrassment. Further embarrassment heaped on Asim Munir and the Pak military. These are the remnants. They have landed very close to Srinagar city. And that's why there is a possibility that the 2 pilots have ejected and they have landed on Indian soil. Now, it's a matter of time that they are apprehended, and we'll get you more. Now, this is more of the drones. These are parts of drone, remnants of the drone in Amritsar. Clearly, the make of the drones this time, and this entire wreckage that we are seeing in Amritsar, this time around the drones are bigger. They seem to have been equipped with explosives and munition, and with the attempt to target positions in Amritsar. Now, one of the treacherous things that Pakistan was trying to do was to try and attack the Golden Temple in Amritsar and blame it on India, and activating their entire Khalistani cronies to try and push this whole thing on social media, but it's been called out by India. And look at this. This is in Amritsar. These are Pak drones, Pak-sent drones. So clearly, huge amount of escalation. But Bharat is also responding. And the response is in far greater measure. There have been severe reversals for the Pakistanis. Critical air bases have been hit. And this is in Lahore. The Lahore people are now seeing parts of the Indian Jawabi Karwai, if I may say. And this is the damage. Now, it looks like a field, but it's clearly that it's just one of the projectiles that's landed there. But in Lahore, along with the ADS system near the Walton Airport, there are some critical facilities that have now been impacted because of Indian Air Force or the Indian Forces response. Let's look at Rawalpindi. The Rawalpindi Air Base, again, this is confirmation that 3 of the Pak air bases were not able to operate their machines from these air bases after the response. This is post-midnight. Once Pakistan went up a ladder on the escalation, this is the response that India has given, and saying, you try to target our bases, you try to target our capital, or you try to target our cities, we will hit you so hard that you will not be able to fly your machines. So these air bases have actually been rendered ineffective overnight. Rawalpindi is one. There is also the Noor Khan Air Base, where there is a huge amount of damage. Now look at the damage that is seen at the Noor Khan Air Base, and there is this proof. And the fact is that there is evidence we are given to understand with our armed forces and with our intelligence that these air bases were rendered ineffective all night. They could not operate their machines from these air bases. So Rawalpindi, the Noor Khan Air Base, and of course, this is the old Narowal Air Base. So Narowal Air Base also rendered ineffective because they were not able to operate their machines. And these are confirmed hits at 3 big air bases of Pakistan. So if Pakistan goes up the escalation ladder, if Chachu Whiskey decides to go up the escalation ladder, Bharat was ready. And the important part, Zaka, as I hand it back to you, is that Bharat was expecting this. Late last evening, we put it out that we know that these were probing. The drones that were sent, largely ineffective, without any ammunition on them, were probes, because they wanted to see how effective our air defense systems are and where our air defense mechanisms have been placed. And soon after the IMF bailout gets a thumbs up, look what Pakistan has done. The world should watch and see that Bharat said we don't want, and we actually offered them 1, 2, 3 off-ramps. But Asim Munir has said no. And the Pak military has said no, we come there, and they've called it Bunyane Mahsoos, and then launching ballistic missiles towards, and one of them intended reportedly towards the national capital, Zaga. This is serious escalation. Yeah. And perhaps now India was expecting it. They were prepared to see to what level Pakistan takes it. Clearly, they don't want an off ramp, and they don't want to get an escalating ladder, because they seem to be desperate to get some win or the other, and that's not happening. That's being denied.
So what we are seeing, in case you're joining us a little past 7:30 in the morning, in case you're joining us this Saturday morning, it's been a night full of action. It's been, as they say, a hot night between India and Pakistan. Pakistan has decided to climb the escalation ladder. The drone swarms that we saw over the last couple of nights, that's now been notched up a rung in the escalation ladder, and that is now they are hitting India, or trying to hit India, through missiles, short-range missiles, both air-to-surface and surface-to-surface missiles, one of which was a ballistic missile, a Fatah 2 series, a 400-kilometer range missile that they tried to launch towards the direction of the national capital. It got intercepted in the skies over Haryana. We're not giving specific locations because we don't want to spread panic, but in the general airspace above Haryana, that was intercepted. India has responded. It has taken out at least 3 major forward air bases of Pakistan. The Noor Khan Air Base, which is the biggest in the country, the Chakwal Air Base, the Murid Air Base as it's known. Both of these air bases have both fighter jet squadrons as well as transport aircraft. So transport aircraft are also important in terms of being able to move logistics. Also the Rafiki Air Base, which is further south in southern Punjab, and there's a civil plus technical airport in a place called Sukur in Sindh. So that is India's response to what Pakistan tried to do. Separately, we're also getting information about massive ceasefire violations both along the line of control and the international border. There has been some damage to civilian installations as well. Pakistan tried to attack some of India's forward air bases. Pathankot certainly saw a bunch of attacks last night, but there has been very minimal to zero damage there. The Jammu Air Force Station they tried to attack yesterday, again zero damage there. Both the technical and the civil airports are fine, are safe. Also in Udhampur, which is the headquarters of the Northern Command of the Indian Army, there too there is, I can report to you, minimal damage. So we're being very, very responsible, very, very measured in our reporting. So the big picture being that it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Certainly, both sides now climbing up a rung in the escalation ladder. Arunima is there with us. Siddhant is there with us. We'll try and go across to Akash as well, who's joining us from Jammu. Ishan in Srinagar, where I believe a dogfight has happened and 2 Pakistan Air Force jets have been brought down. Let me go across to Arunima. Arunima, big picture, what are you hearing? You're outside South Block for us. Any defense sources, government sources saying what the situation is, what the assessment is as they see it?
See, the situation right now, we are told at about 7:30 hours this morning on Saturday, is under control. Whatever misadventure Pakistan indulged in last night, post midnight, it has been met. And they have lost more than they attempted to harm India with. So what we are told is that there are at least 2 Pakistani fighter jets which have been down. Officially, they're not saying whether they know exactly where the debris are, but they are confirming that they feel that at least 2 Pakistani fighter jets are down, and an intense search operation is currently on around Srinagar to look for the Pakistani Air Force pilots who likely ejected. So that's one. Second, we do know that their ceasefire violation along the line of control in Rajouri, Poonch, all of that has resulted in deaths. They were targeting civilians. One district level official has also lost his life because his house was shelled. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has also tweeted his condolence. But for now, the firing that was on at Rajouri Poonch sector over the last 1 hour or so, even that has gone down. Jammu also was targeted. Attempts were made at the Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur air base. And even though Pakistan's propaganda machinery through their own local media channels were trying to say that the Udhampur air base has been damaged, our sources in the defense establishment have confirmed that there's no damage to any air asset or to the premises or any personnel in any of these air bases. Pathankot, Jammu, Udhampur, it's all clear there. And right now the focus, like I said, A is to look for the Pakistani Air Force pilots. B is to assess the kind of damage that has been inflicted on Pakistan. Once this assessment has been done, we're expecting a formal press conference led by the Foreign Secretary.
All right. I also want to go across to Ishan, but what we're seeing in the middle part of your screen is wreckage believed to be from 2 Pakistan Air Force jets that have been downed. It's landed in a place called Lasjan, which I believe is in the outskirts of Srinagar. Ishan is on his way to Lasjan. What more do we know about these parts, this wreckage? Where was it found? The individual who has shot this, what more can you tell us?
The assessment is being done. What we know is that the team has arrived there. They have taken the wreckage and these parts with them. Initially, what the sources in the Air Force and the defense told us that they were able to shoot down at least two aircrafts of Pakistan in and around Kashmir, and particularly one in Srinagar. But the assessment is being done what it really was, whether it was a missile, whether it was a drone, or whether it was a jet that has been basically shot at by the Indian Air Defense. But right now, what we have been given to understand is that the Indian defense is running on maximum in Kashmir to ensure the safety. They have shot down, things. What we don't have a clarity yet on that what kind of projectile it is, what it was, and where actually it other places where it has landed. But what we know is that there is a high level of operational preparedness. The forces are checking everything that is coming in their radar to ensure that they are brought down immediately. There is an attempt to actually inflict damage at two important locations. One is the Avantipura air station, and one is Avantipura air base, and one is the Srinagar air station. Both of the targets are being done by the Pakistan drones, and Pakistani aircrafts and rockets are being shot at there. And also what we know is that this landed in a residential house of one person, but there is no damage, immediate damage that we know about that has been caused. Our sources have been telling us that people have been asked to stay a little vigilant, but not panic at all. There's no need to panic, as air defense of India is running high in Kashmir at the moment, and the line of control is also hot. Remember, the LOC areas are also right now hot. What we have been given to understand is that the firing is still going on the line of control. There is a possibility, if it is a pilot-based aircraft that was hovering around Srinagar, that the pilots can also be possibly anywhere. But yes, one has to wait for the IAF team to actually give us a confirmation to really what it was and what it really is. But they believed initially that they have brought down a fighter jet around Srinagar and in the Lasjan area.
All right, Anand is also there with us. We don't know the wreckage. This is from the Lasjan area in Srinagar. It's likely from a Pakistani Air Force jet that's been brought down, but we'll wait for that confirmation. These are images of the tube drones that were being launched from the other side of the border in Pakistan. That has now been brought down by the intercepts of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force. Anand, walk us through those pictures, please.
Well, let's have a look at this. This is a Pak military post where there is, if you see, they were launching the tube drones, and that they had the drone tubes, and this was a Pak post, and that's where this is that we are seeing on the picture. This is right across the Jammu region, across the international border. That's where they had these this post from where drones were being launched. That's been totally decimated. So this is a big uptick, because every time Pakistan, what they were trying to resort to do was sending these drones, and these drones were nothing but cannon fodder. They wanted to do that because they wanted to see how much of a backup. Now these are pictures. These are pictures. These are the latest. These are the latest objects that have been found in Jaisalmer. This was a huge projectile. Now, have a look at this. This is nothing short of a ballistic missile. But it's a huge projectile if you look at it, and it's mangled. We don't know if there is live ammunition in it, but this has been brought down. It's landed in a residential area in Jaisalmer. And quite a long one, at about 10 to 15 feet in length, at least, this projectile, if not more. And it seems that the head has come off and it's just landed. This seems to be the head of the projectile, and quite a big one. It's landed there. Whether it has live ammunition or not, we do not know. There have been some sounds of explosions in some other places, but this one has landed here, and you can see the way it's landed. There are a few craters just around the fact. It seems to have landed with a thud and then rolled over across to this bush, if you see these pictures. So this is in Jaisalmer. The cops, the local police have been alerted, and they've asked the local residents there to not go close or to touch this, but to leave it as it is. But we can see the villagers and all of them who have seen this. They've taken the images, and clearly the local authorities have been alerted with this. So this is the latest. So clearly a lot of efforts that have been made by the Pakistanis to ratchet up and to try and damage certain installations across the entire western border has come a begging for them. It's not yielded results. Have we lost people? Yes, we have. There's report of a civilian death, 2 civilian deaths that have happened in Jammu Kashmir region. These are latest pictures. These are also latest pictures from Jaisalmer. This is also another spot that's come in. Is this live ammunition? This is also looks like part of a projectile. This also looks like part of a missile. Now, this somewhere confirms the fact that the reports that we had that Pakistan has actually launched ballistic missiles soon after the IMF thumbs up for the $1.3 billion bailout that's come for them. But look at this, and that's why Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah is asking the international community. He's just taken to X for that. But look at this. Ballistic missiles have been launched, so this is clear escalation. Yes, Zaka?
Us live from Lasjan, where we believe wreckage of two Pakistani Air Force aircraft have gone down. Ishan, show us where you are and what you're seeing around you.
Well, this is the residential area. This is the impact spot. You will see that one of that, whatever projectile it was, landed here. Look at the impact spot. This is possibly a part of it, which is in my hand right now, and that has been taken away by the police as soon as before we reached here. This is the impact spot where it landed. You'll see around here the sort of the sort of scene that is this here. This is where it had landed, and this is it has uprooted the entire thing here. And you will also notice here that one more projectile actually fell at this place, and then it was taken away by the police. And what we've been told is that there's an active investigation going on, what it really was, what it really is. Now the Indian Air Force will ascertain that what really it was brought down here. But initial information with the Air Force was that they have been able to bring down at least one jet around Srinagar and then on the outskirts as well.
What is
but
this
look
place?
at this spot where the impact spot is.
Is it the backyard of a house? What is this place?
Well, this is the backyard of a house. I'll give you an idea how close-knitted this locality is. You will see there are houses all around this place, everywhere. And luckily that it did not fall any of these houses. It fell in their back garden where nobody was present at that time. And you will see that there's a very less space present between these houses. And if it all had fallen on any of these houses, it would have created a lot of damage to them. But this is the impact spot. You will exactly see the sort of locality that exists, that there was nobody present at that time here. We spoken to the residents here. They said that there was a loud sound that they heard, and after that they came out and seeing that there was some projectile, two of them present here, and then it was whisked away by the police. But the impact has been like a good big impact around this place, and lucky enough for these people that it did not fall in any of these houses, any of these residential houses which are closely knitted and closely located with each other. But we have given to understand is that now the Air Force and and the teams of Indian Army will look at this particular object and see what it really was and the sort of damage it could have inflicted on the residential area. But definitely we had seen that there was a high air activity. We've been given to understand that there was a possibly a dogfight that took place in the skies of Srinagar. But right now it's difficult to tell what really fell here because it's part of the investigation by the agencies.
All right, Anand, I believe you have pictures of what has gone down in Jaisalmer.
Yes.
It looks like parts of a missile. Just take us through what you're
now,
seeing.
this is close to the Pokhran region, we are given to understand, and the locals are saying when this landed there, they heard a loud explosion. So they're not sure whether this is a bomb, but the shape of it and the way it is, it looks like a missile. Now, whether is it what make it is, what type it is, whether it is a portion of a ballistic missile, we have to wait and watch. But clearly, this is a far bigger projectile than what we saw landing in Jaisalmer yesterday and day before. So that were about 5-6 feet. Those were the kind of projectiles that we had seen. This is more than 10 to 12 feet long, and if you see the whole length and breadth of this and this entire image, it very clearly shows. Look at the locals, and you can compare and contrast the size of this projectile based on the locals who are standing there, and that itself gives you that this is at least 10 to 12 feet long, if not more. And this is not even the whole projectile. This is not even the whole missile. And this is another portion that's found. Now, this could be a live mortar shell or munition. So the locals have been advised that you take pictures and you stay away. Don't touch it. Keep minimum distance. Some of this may be live. Some of this may be diffused. We do not know. But these have landed. So clearly, the escalation ladder, Pakistan has really gone up the escalation ladder. With what intent? Can they sustain it? Is it desperation? But what also stands out is our air defense systems. Yes, there will be some reversals, there will be some aspects, but a 10% hit or a 5% blow on the chin or somewhere is nothing compared to the 100% might that was pushed by the Pakistanis. So largely, if you were to say 98% of the efforts pushed by the Pakistani military has been neutralized or has been defeated refused. But it is also sad that we have lost at least 2 civilians in Jammu Kashmir, leader, one lady and also one person who was part of the administrative services in Jammu and Kashmir, in Srinagar, who's also sadly lost his life. But the other part, Zaka, as I hand it back to you, is that Pakistanis have not just targeted military installations, they seem to be targeting certain religious installations also, because one of the missiles sent by the Pakistanis, or projectiles, has landed near a temple in Jammu. The other thing is they were flying around over Amritsar. With what intent? We have to see. Thankfully, majority of these have been neutralized. We are also awaiting details, and I'm very curious to see if there are locals who have cited someone trying to come down on a parachute. Because if there is a dogfight and 2 Pakistani jets have been downed, there is a high possibility that there could be 2 Pakistani pilots or enemy pilots on Indian soil. Now, whether they are apprehended, whether they've been cited, we are waiting for those confirmations. But there is a confirmed report that there was a dogfight over the Srinagar skies this morning.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for that, Anand. As we go across to Tejinder in Jammu, but those images from Jaisalmer, that looks like a significant piece of military hardware. That looks like a missile, possibly a short range or a medium range missile, the remnants of which landed up in Jaisalmer. We'll try and find out from our reporter there. We've got Anvit, I think, there in Jaisalmer. This is what the locals have spotted, and they have filmed it and they've sent it across. There's been some civilian casualties as well in Jammu, in Rajouri, Poonch. Tejinder has more on this. Tejinder, I believe a DC level officer has also lost his life. I think his house was attacked yesterday. There's been 3 civilian casualties in Jammu is what we are told. Just tell us what else are you hearing and seeing this morning in Jammu?
Zaka, unfortunately, there has been 5 civilian casualties across Jammu since the Pakistani army launched this ceasefire violation targeting the civilian population. 3 people, including an additional DC Rajkumar Thapa, have been killed in Rajouri. There has been a fatality. A woman has been killed in Mender area of Poonch, and another civilian has been killed in the Araspura area of Jammu, as Pakistan army continues to target the civilian population. As Anand was rightly pointing out, that a missile launched from the Pakistan side exploded outside one of the famous temples in Jammu called the Aab Shambhu temple, but luckily there was no casualty in that blast. Another 2 missiles that were fired from the Pakistan side, one landed at a residential house in Janipur and the other one in Rehadi. So clearly now the Jammu city, which never came under attack after the 1971 war, has been targeted by the Pakistan side. They are using drones, they are using missiles, heavy artillery guns to target the civilian population. And Zaka, as we speak, the line of control in Jammu as well as in Kashmir is really hot. Pakistan army is once again targeting the civilian population living along the line of control in Uri, in Tangdhar, Keran, Machil sector in Kashmir, and in Jammu region, Poonch, Rajouri, Kathua. These are the areas which are being targeted by the Pakistan side. But yes, the Indian army is giving a befitting response to Pakistan. We are told that several positions of the Pakistan army, from where they are launching their tube projectiles, from where they are targeting the civilian population, have been completely decimated by the targeted fire of the Indian armed forces.
So the 3 sets of images that you're seeing, one from Amritsar in the fields there, that's the wreckage of a drone clearly. Remember yesterday India called out Turkey and said there were Turkish-made drones that were being sent from Pakistan to India. The middle part of your screen is debris from a Pakistan Air Force jet. We don't know the make. Could be an F-16, but we don't know the make. It's in a place called Lasjan. You heard from Ishan a moment ago. He's landed in that residential colony in Lasjan. Thankfully, it fell on the backyard of an individual. And then on the right side of your screen, it seems like a massive projectile of some sort. This is from Jaisalmer. We'll try and get to Anvit as well to try and get a sense of what this is and how the villagers managed to find this. Arunima is joining us. So the big picture at 8 o'clock this morning, this Saturday morning, it's been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Multiple drone and missile strikes both ways. Pakistan upping the ante, escalating going up the escalation ladder after the IMF bailout announcement, trying to attack India's forward air bases and military stations from Jammu to Udhampur to Pathankot to Sirsa, Adhampur were all under target, but all of those attempts have been thwarted. India in response taking out some of the forward air bases of Pakistan, the Noor Khan base being the topmost one. It's one of the biggest air bases, one of the oldest air bases of Pakistan. It used to be called the Chaklala Air Base, right in the heart of Rawalpindi. There's one in Chakwal, the Murid Air Base, a smaller one which has transport aircraft, and then one further south in Surkot, the Rafiki Air Base. Arunima from South Block, what is the big picture that you're hearing from top government and defense officials?
So while assessment is currently going on, the current action that we are seeing is that assessment of what really has, what is the kind of damage that has been extended to Pakistan. We've all been reporting that it is suspected that 2 Pakistani Air Force pilots have ejected near Srinagar. So there is an intense search operation that has been launched to locate them. And now we're just looking at the Pakistani media. They're reporting that Shahbaz Sharif has called for a meeting of the National Command Authority. So all of the developments that are happening in Pakistan also is being closely monitored. Our own Foreign Secretary is expected to brief with details about what really has happened overnight. The only official word we had last night, the statement from the Indian Army, was that at 26 locations drone attacks were carried out, and after the statement came out, there were surface to surface missiles also, and also Pakistani aircrafts which were launched. We have been reporting how they've got a bloody nose. They tried to cause damage at Pathankot, Jammu, Udhampur, and their media is continuing to maintain that there was some damage done to the Udhampur airbase, but something which has been rejected by defense officials. There was a briefing that was supposed to happen this morning, but it was put on hold because there was live air operation happening, and soon after that we heard that Pakistani jets have been downed near Srinagar. So currently the big picture is that Pakistan is trying to once again get the international community involved, trying to raise the bogey of nuclear weapon once again. India, however, maintains that we are only retaliating. Provocation is coming in from Pakistan and we are only retaliating, and that press conference by the Foreign Secretary is expected to toe the same line.
All right, Anand's also there here in the studios with me. So some of these pictures that we're getting, Anand, these are parts allegedly of a downed Pakistan Air Force jet that's been found in Lasjan. We saw that massive projectile from Jaisalmer as well, and then of course the intercepts, the CCTV footage of the intercepts of a Pakistani post where they were using to launch drones. What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, there are multiple reports coming through. There is confirmation that there are 2 jets that have been downed. There are also pieces that have landed at different portions across the western border. So be it Jammu and Kashmir, be it in Haryana, be it in Punjab. Now these are pictures in Gurdaspur. So again, there is a huge collection of people who have come there, and there is something that's landed in the fields. Now it could be live ammunition. Viewers who are watching this, if you see something that has landed somewhere close to your vicinity, or if you know people who are telling you that they are seeing something, they should maintain a fair distance. But what's also evident is that the impact here has made a bit of a crater or a hole on the other side. Now these are farmers who are tilling their lands, and this is an open field in Gurdaspur. Look at the crater there. That's the ditch. Now something's landed big here. For the impact for it to be on a field, and it's landed huge here. So something's landed here and they're trying to show what it is. It looks like portions of a projectile that has landed here, and it's quite a big crater. Now you look at this. This is quite a big crater, and there are a lot of people around. It looks like these pictures are coming at a time when local authorities have already arrived there, because this is a huge collection of people. But look at the size of the crater. This is a huge crater that's landed here. So something big has landed here in Gurdaspur with a huge amount of impact. So clearly, with each passing night, from small drones which had nothing, small projectiles which were not very potent, the size of the projectiles, the missiles, has gone very big. Anshul joins us with more details. Anshul, Gurdaspur, there's a huge collection of people. What seems to have landed there? Is it portions of a big missile? Does this further confirm the theory that Pakistan has actually launched ballistic missiles towards India?
Well, definitely, this seems like a big missile, something that has not been that has not been regularly seen over the last 3 days regarding the kind of projectiles that have been launched from the side of Pakistan. At this point in time, the locals have collected over there. The officials and the members of the army, official members of the army, are reaching on the spot. They will try to ascertain as to what kind of missile was actually used that has landed in Gurdaspur at this point. However, the initial information that we are picking up, there has been no reports of any injuries that has been reported. But yes, there has been lost. There has been loss
They
to
seem to have
property.
landed
There are
in empty
window
fields. You are
panes
in
that have been
Pathankot at this point. Anshul, what's happening in Pathankot? Is it quiet? We spoke around the same time on Friday morning. This is now, we are into Saturday morning. What is happening in Pathankot at this point? Was it active? Did people cite explosions last night too? Have there been certain portions or debris of attempts by Pakistan that have been neutralized that have also landed in Pathankot?
Well, yes, at least 25 to 30 explosions were heard by me, myself, and all these 30 explosions were actually of projectiles that were sent from the side of Pakistan, but all of them were actually neutralized by our air defense systems. Especially from 5 a.m. this morning, there were one after the other that were attacks that were launched from the side of Pakistan and that had landed over here. In fact, that were thwarted by our air defense system. Now, at the exact location at which I'm standing, this is the last village of international border over here in Pathankot. Right in front of you, what you are seeing is Pakistan. I'll try and see you a few posts of Pakistan or Pakistan over here. This village is a very important village because the manner in which there has been amplification that has been done from the side of Pakistan. There are reports of certain firings that might have happened, but this is the international border. Over the last few hours, this has remained absolutely calm. But yes, a few locals actually claim that late last night they saw a few projectiles being launched from here. These projectiles were actually neutralized by our air defense systems. I'll just try and get in a word from a few people. भैया आप यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं, किस तरह का माहौल है यहाँ पर? बिल्कुल पाकिस्तान सामने है आपके और काफ़ी अभी टेंशन बढ़ी हुई है।
माहौल तो सर अभी ख़राब ही चल रहा है, आपको भी पता है माहौल तो ख़राब ही चल रहा है। माहौल ऐसे अभी रात को तो कोई रहता नहीं इधर, जो लेडीज़ है जेंट्स है सब चले जाते हैं।
कुछ लोग तो रहते हैं गाँव,
कोई 10-15 जी रहते हैं।
कितनी आबादी है इस गाँव की?
इधर 450
आबादी है। तो कैसा है, कभी वहाँ से कोई अटैक होने का?
अभी तक तो कोई नहीं हुआ सर, अभी तक इधर तो नहीं हुआ, बाहर होगा लेकिन इधर नहीं, सिंबल गांव में नहीं हुआ। हाँ जी।
So, thank you for that. All these to speed a little past 8 o'clock is that there has been a hot night between India and Pakistan. Pakistan clearly climbing up the escalation ladder. What you're seeing are visuals from different parts along the northern and western sectors. Jaisalmer, a massive projectile of some sorts. It looks like a missile of some form. And then in Lasjan in Srinagar, you're seeing visuals of what is likely remnants of a downed Pakistan jet, a Pakistan Air Force jet. So let's bring you up to speed with the headlines that we're seeing. First, in Lasjan in Srinagar, in the outskirts of the city, parts of a Pakistani jet have been found. The pictures of the wreckage have been accessed. You can see this was inside the residential compound of an individual. Headline number 2, India managing to intercept Pakistani drones. We can show that CCTV footage as well. This is on a Pakistani launch pad they were using on the other side of the international border in Jammu. Top defense sources saying that India has destroyed this Pakistani post that was trying to launch drones and of course the launch pads that have been used. The second image that you see is that of the destroyed drone. You can see the intercepts happening in the night sky, and then the second image, smoke and fire in the fields there. Headline number 3, part of a drone has been found in the fields of Amritsar. Amritsar bang on the border, just 60 kilometers between Amritsar and Lahore. So parts of a drone have been found in the rural parts of Amritsar in agricultural fields. You can see that as well. Headline number 4, a projectile from Pakistan has been found in Lasjan. This is, like I said, believed to be parts of a fighter jet of the Pakistan Air Force that was brought down in a dogfight over the skies of Srinagar. A bomb-like object has been found in Jaisalmer. This is in a place called Jammu village close to Pokhran. The Indian Army has neutralized the Pakistani projectile. It seems like parts of a missile. There's also that image of a much larger, almost 10 feet large projectile that's been captured there in Jaisalmer as well. So these are the various images that we have. We have Arunima Siddhant joining us. Siddhant, what's the international community saying? Has there been any response, any form of, wanting to calm down tempers, de-escalate the situation? It seems like both India and Pakistan are now locked in this escalatory phase, climbing the escalation ladder. Someone's got to come in and try and mediate and try and get both parties to back off, or are they saying, as Vance and Trump seem to be suggesting that, look, it's their problem, let them figure it out.
Well, yes, that's right, Zaka. In fact, international community is urging both sides to de-escalate. In fact, we have a fresh statement from G7 foreign ministers. Perhaps, first they condemned Pahalgam terror attack, then they urged both sides to de-escalate for the sake of regional peace and stability. In fact, Saudi Arabia is one country which is giving efforts for de-escalation. In fact, this offer had come from various countries for mediation and for giving for offering their good office for the mediation purpose between the two between India and Pakistan. But at this point in time, Zaka, you need a country which has leverage with both India and Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia seems to be the one. So this is a reason that in fact the special envoy of Saudi Arabia was in the national capital day before yesterday. In fact, he met Foreign Minister Jaisalmer. He in fact met Prime Minister Modi, though there was no photographs released of him meeting Prime Minister Modi. Then yesterday he was in Islamabad, and in fact Islamabad released those photographs of him meeting Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir. Perhaps we really know very little about what was conversation all about. In fact, when he was here also in the national capital, there was nothing which we got in terms of information from Ministry of External Affairs or any other government wing regarding the conversation. Perhaps was he carrying somebody's message? What is the position of Saudi government? Whether that was conveyed to the Indian government, etc., etc. So we know very little. And today Saudi Arabia has come up with a statement, Zaka, confirming that this envoy was sent on a surprise visit to both India and Pakistan, perhaps to give efforts to de-escalate tension. But it doesn't look like
an unscheduled
that
visit is the steer that we're getting. He's gone to both Islamabad as well as to New Delhi. First New Delhi and then Islamabad. Before I go to Anand, Aman is also joining us. Aman, what's the big picture? What are top government sources telling you? Because clearly things have escalated. This is the third night, the night between the 9th and 10th of May. It's the third night after Operation Sindoor. Clearly, we're now looking at an active conflict between India and Pakistan.
Well, absolutely, Zaka. As you correctly say, India, Pakistan both are on an escalatory ladder, and India is totally and squarely blaming Pakistan for what is happening. India is very clear, Zaka, that our attack, our retaliation was over with Operation Sindoor on May the 7th. It is since Pakistan, which is upping the escalation, first by sending drones across the border, attacking 36 targets from Leh to Sir Creek the previous night. And what has happened today early morning is a complete escalation, firing of ballistic missiles at India. This is something that India is saying will be responded in big measure. India has already responded today morning, and India is seeing a plot here, Zaka. India feels that, Pakistan waited for the IMF bailout. Till then, the drones which came were all recce missions, intelligence gathering missions, trying to test our air defenses, maybe trying to exhaust our air defenses. But Pakistan has been caught by shock and surprise today morning when it launched its full attack soon after getting the IMF bailout. India also trying to now tell the world that, look, you have bailed out a country. IMF has given a bailout to a country which has launched ballistic missiles at India, which is exporting terror. So the world community also needs to, sit up and take note. What Pakistan has done today morning, soon after getting the IMF bailout, and this is what India told the IMF very, very strongly yesterday also by abstaining from the vote and lodging its strong protest, that a country which is fomenting terror against India, why is it being given bailout of one bailout after the other? Nearly over 24 bailouts given to Pakistan over the last many years. India made that point on the world stage. India was not able to stop the bailout because of the way the IMF is structured. But today's strikes are completely escalating the matter. India is now saying the onus is on Pakistan to stop, to de-escalate. But if Pakistan does not stop, India is going to go to any lengths to protect its territory, to protect its military assets, to protect its civilian population. And that is why you've seen this morning, Zaka.
All right, thanks, Aman. Anand's here in our studios. That projectile that you showed from Jaisalmer, and I believe Anvit will also be joining us. We can go across to him. It's from a village part of the Pokhran, Jaisalmer, that belt. Can you show us that projectile, Anand? And there's a massive crater that's been left on the ground.
Well, these are updated images, Zaka. These are updated. Now, this is what, see, the serial numbers are also there. The UCP 213-15956. and the serial number is also put out. So there are more images coming through of the projectiles that were launched. This is confirmed proof that it is Pakistan that has launched ballistic missiles and also sending huge projectiles. Look at the impact which is there on the field. It's landed on a field and people are now, we'll go across to that side where the size of the projectile itself shows that this was a missile. This was not a smaller one, and it was not mounted on a drone or anything. This was a ballistic missile. This is the person who's walking us, and he's taking us to the place where the actual portion of it has landed. It has come through that area. That's what they are trying to show. See, there are other pieces also. There are more fractions and fragments that have fallen here. Look at this on the ground, and then he's pointing with now there are more. See, you see more smaller fragments that have gone in before we come and see the final big piece, that is that blue, dark blue, indigo blue kind of a missile. Now this is the actual color, or midnight blue or black. That's the color that that the missile actually has. Now he's showing the distance that this entire projectile, once it's crashed, it's gone and it's traveled. The fragments have traveled. See, there are more fragments here. There are more portions and more fragments here that we are seeing. There you go. This one again. Big pieces, big chunks which have landed. That's more than a foot and a half of the material or the external covering itself. And then this person is walking across to that particular projectile where he finds it. Now they say it is behind the bike. If you remember the first set of pictures, the bike was right there. Now there you go. We're going to freeze these pictures. They're going to walk, and that's where it is. So it's created a bit of a hole. It's created a bit of a trail as it comes there, and more people are now coming to see these pictures of this projectile. Now these are pictures from Udhampur. More pictures will be coming through. These are pictures from Udhampur that we've got. There are pictures from Jaisalmer that have come. The Jaisalmer first picture. Now this is confirmation. This is an open field where this piece has landed. There is also a piece that's landed in a huge projectile that's landed in Sirsa. So clearly Pakistan upping the ante and sending these projectiles. The world needs to watch these. The world has to see the ballistic missiles that were launched by Pakistan soon after they got the... Look at the crater. Look at this gap. It's opened it wide out here, and something's landed here too. So that's what the people are saying, that it's come from the skies. The people are pointing it out. It came from the skies. It came from there, and it's landed here. So there are drones that have landed. There are missiles that have landed near Pokhran. In Jaisalmer, there are big drone chunks that landed, which show that they had huge markings and also that they had munitions loaded on it. So let's try and understand where all Pakistan, soon after the IMF bailout got a thumbs up for them, attacked Indian side on the western borders. Let's look at it. So they very actively targeted Udhampur. There is something that landed in Udhampur, but the Air Force station and the base there in Udhampur is safe. There is no damage done. They have attacked Jammu city vigorously, but right across here on Jammu, here on a park post which was launching the tubes for drones, we have actually neutralized. There is Pathankot. Now, seriously, there has been some at least 25. Anshul was there from the CNN News 18 overnight at Pathankot, and he said at least 25 explosions over the skies I've heard overnight. And Pathankot, they've actively tried to target. There is also Sirsa. Now, the question is, Sirsa, where was this projectile aimed at? Was the Sirsa projectile intercepted, or this missile over the Sirsa skies intercepted while it was on its route to the national capital? Was it somewhere around Delhi? That's the big question. Did Pakistan, did Rawalpindi, did General Asim Munir and co. target the national capital soon after the IMF bailout? That's the big question because of this missile that was intercepted over Sirsa. Now, what have we done? Soon after this happens, around midnight, between 12 to 12:30 p.m., 12:30 a.m., there is a counter that India launches. Now, India's counter is so fast, so swift, that they have had huge reversals. What did we target? India targeted, the Indian Armed Forces targeted Islamabad, Noor Khan base, the PAF Murid base, Narowal, Shekhupura, Lahore, the Rafiki Air Base, and the Sukkur Airport in Sindh. All of them were targeted, and this is confirmed now that the base in Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi has suffered serious reversals. There are actually reports that the Pakistanis, let's see if they confirm it, that their entire fleet of C-130s has been rendered ineffective here. They have suffered serious reversals. They couldn't operate their machines in Pindi. Then also the Narowal Air Base, again they couldn't operate their machines from here because the air base has been hit. It's been hit hard. And there is one more, which was one more airbase that's been hit in Chakwal, or let me just see that. Yeah, in Shorkot. So this airbase also has been hit, and of course projectiles have landed, and there's confirmation of landings that have happened in Lahore where certain installations have been hit, Zaka. So clearly India's reaction has been far more punitive, and it's hurt the Pakistanis than what they attempted. But this treachery, the international community must note that the moment they get the bailout, Zaka, look what they unleashed.
Absolutely, and I think Omar Abdullah has underlined that point as well, that it can't be that Pakistan is given this bailout after bailout after bailout, and then some of those monies are diverted into directing terror and active aggression against India. I also want to get a quick word in from Anvit, who's in Jaisalmer, where we saw that massive image. It was a 10 feet long projectile, a rocket of some form. Anvit, if you're there, which part of Jaisalmer is it? It seemed like rural desert. What are the locals telling you? I mean, when did this land? How did they end up finding it? And I presume that either the army or the police would have taken away these wreckage, this remnants.
Yes, Zaka, the piece that has fallen has fallen in Pokhran. We were attempting to go towards the border, international border ahead of Jaisalmer. We were stopped in, ahead of Tanot. We were stopped in Ramgarh. Ramgarh stands to be the last village beyond which civilian movement is not allowed. Media is also not allowed. Army has taken over, and the BSF posts. From there, all the vehicles are being ridden. You can see this road is completely blocked. We are ahead of Jaisalmer in Ramgarh right now. In this area, last night, a huge shelling was witnessed, and many drones were also witnessed. Witnesses have said that many bombs were dropped, and some portions of drones that were intercepted by India have also fallen in this area. Yesterday we had shown how in Kishan one such piece was in a controlled detonation by the military, it was taken away. We have one witness who had witnessed huge amount of drone crashing in this area. Sir, आप यहीं रहते हैं?
जी, हम रामगढ़ रहते हैं।
यहाँ पे परसों काफी ड्रोन शेलिंग्स वगैरह हुई थी।
देखिए, यहाँ परसों रात को पाकिस्तान की तरफ से कुछ ड्रोन आए, तो हमारी सेना ने उसको तुरंत ही उसको
यहाँ पे भी कुछ ड्रोन
थोड़ा सा यहाँ पास कुछ गिरा था, वो फिर उसको पुलिस और सेना ने उसको ले लिया। तो देखिए, यहाँ सेना हमारी पूरी मुस्तैद से तैयार है, और उसके साथ साथ माते श्री तनोट राय घंटियालिया वो भी तैयार है। जब 1971 में लड़ाई हुआ था, तो माते श्री तनोट राय से कोई भी बम फटा नहीं, कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ, अभी भी वैसा ही है, कोई भय वगैरह डर की कोई ऐसा नहीं है।
So basically, in this area, a lot of bombs and portions of drones that have fallen, that were intercepted, have fallen, and the army had been collecting all of those with the local police. Yesterday also forensic teams were there in Kishan as well as in Ramgarh area, and further from here in Tanot as well. All the pieces have been gathered, they've been sent for examination to find out what is the origin, and also to find out what could have been the implication if they had exploded.
We'll leave it at that. I want to go to this piece of breaking news that MEA briefing has now been confirmed at 10:30 a.m. That is what we are given to understand. This is on Operation Sindoor. Remember, for the last 3 days, it's the Foreign Secretary who's been briefing the contingent of the media. So it will likely be a joint briefing of the MEA as well as officials from the Ministry of Defence. Last 2 days, it was the young women officers from the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army, Wing Commander Singh and Colonel Qureshi. Both of them are also expected to be flanking the Foreign Secretary. But it has been a serious escalation overnight between the 9th and 10th, the night between the 9th and 10th of May. Pakistan, immediately after the announcement of the IMF bailout, has upped the ante in an attempt to try and take out some of the forward air bases of the Indian Air Force. They've targeted the Udhampur Air Force Station. They've targeted Udhampur, of course, is the headquarters of the Indian Army's Northern Army Command. Also tried to hit the Jammu Air Force Station, Pathankot, which is our biggest forward air base. It has some of the squadrons of our 4.5 generation fighter jets. Also over the Sirsa Air Force Station. So multiple Air Force stations the Pakistanis tried to take out overnight. And this is the first sort of rung in the escalation ladder where two states or two armies, two air forces that are trying to take out each other's air force stations, because if the enemy cannot scramble his jets, then that is a serious tactical advantage that you have at the starting of any conflict. Siddhant is now joining us with further details. So the MEA briefing at 10:30 a.m., is it just going to be the Foreign Secretary, or is it going to follow the same pattern that we saw the last couple of days, Siddhant, the two young Army and Air Force officers also flanking the Foreign Secretary?
Well, so far, Zaka, we have a very limited details, but perhaps it could be the same format. What we have been seeing in last three press briefings of Operation Sindoor. In fact, we just got the confirmation from the government that at 10:30 there's going to be the press briefing, the joint press briefing of Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Defence. Perhaps there was a briefing which was scheduled early in the morning at around 5:45 a.m. Zaka. That briefing got postponed because the Operation